My elbow. Good, that's a great start. I don't like the new OBS. Why does it look so ugly? Oh, it's ugly. OBS, what are you doing? Ew. The bars for like the sound are like this thick now instead of like that. Ew. It's ugly. What the fuck, OBS? Also, I can't correctly judge sound for some reason with the blocky fucking number. Hi! How do I make it go away? How do I make it revert without reverting? Why did OBS have to make it ugly? Ugly! Who in tech? Who in the tech that's doing the OBS decided that the blocky volume bars needed to be this big? Who decided that? It's disgusting. I hate it. I want it to go away. I can't judge my sound now. Is my mic good or is it peaking? It looks like it's peaking because it's in the red. But the red is also like twice as long now, so I don't fucking know. The bars are also smaller, but thicker, but longer. Kill it with fire? Stop touching things that were fine the way they were. My neighbors just heard me screaming and looked over in most concern as they walked by. My bad. Is the volume even good? I can't tell. I also feel like the filters aren't on anymore. No, they are. I don't like it. I guess we're gonna go with it and hope it works. I don't want to read right now. I'm upset about OBS and it's throwing everything off. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it. Wait, did she write it in Japanese? Is that why? And how is your judicial assistant faring, I may ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. You know her, this person? No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped that man twice. He also hates you. 100% hates your fucking guts, buddy. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Bar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache. Pretty good. Overall good. It's raining, so stream may crash. We'll see. How are you doing? It's 6. Give him a cute message because I love him. So, it's raining and hot. I don't know how that works. No, sleep is not good. Sleep is important. Let's see what the weather is right now. Because it's hot as fucking here. I mean, it's still in the high 70s. So. Feels worse.
What the fuck was that?
What the fuck was what? You good? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. Yeah, that's fair. I just... She got some energy. You're going, oh, you're leaving me alone.
What's the edgy?
You're leaving me alone? I thought you were gonna sit out here with me.
Wait, bedroom?
Of course you do. Okay, I love you.
Look.
I see you, you're cute.
Do I look like Superman?
Do you look like Superman? Look like something.
Do I look like Superman?
Not quite.
Come on.
You look like something. And it's cute. You look like an old Victorian woman in a heavy coat, is what you look like.
No!
You do!
I look like Superman.
Jesus Lord, girl! You don't know how that just fell! You hit it with the blanket! What do you mean?
No, I didn't see it.
You look like an old Victorian lady. Yes.
I look like Superman.
Superman does not wear black.
Oh.
Okay, you look like Superman. Are you happy now?
Yeah.
Can I have kisses? Since you're gonna abandon me to so you can go to the room. Gosh. I love
Love you too.
you. Mwah. Ow, what the fuck was that?
Kiss.
I already did. I was trying to get nose nuzzles. Ow, girl. That's twice. That time you got my lip. Can we not headbutt? That'd be cool.
Let's see.
Okay, can I have the nose nuzzles? That's what I was trying for. Thank you. Oh, you have a heavy skull and you get that from your father. Your head is hard and it hurts. Yeah, I mean, you're the one who probably has a broken nose now. But, you know. Ow. She was precious. She was watching the rain earlier. Very cute. You didn't have two mustaches, Hurley. I had one. Yes, who could forget those two cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. Oh my god. A very deep impression they made on you. Clearly. So what was the startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. Yeah, I think I don't. But that's usually a case of that's shaving burn, so it's usually a case of like getting the right kind of cream and stuff. If the cortisone's helping, that's good. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further, though it took place half a year ago. For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with the case of the haunted lodgings. Yeah, that could probably be why. Cream helps. When Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Suzado's father questioned him about the case, she says, and something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram. Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. You were mean to her? Oh, we can fight. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that. Are you sure? You perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes. About why Miss Suzada was suddenly told 4 months ago she had to return to Japan. It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No! It just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? The Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home. Why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea, but she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that, I wonder what Miss Suzada's father is hiding. Hurley, do you know what it's all about? Are you dressed? Well, who can say? What? But you said... That too, that can also be. Your skin's not used to it. Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, Hurley, don't worry, see you later. He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseski-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found them at last. Iris, are they... The notes about the case, that's right. Susie and I compiled them together. Case of the Haunted Lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo? Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case, but perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. Put the gun away, small child. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes together again. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Why are you still here, then? This is gonna be an interesting case if you're not allowed to practice law. Oh, or is this a case we haven't seen? I assumed it was a case we had seen, I just forgotten, but I'm assuming maybe it's a case we haven't seen, so you're gonna play it. She was unconscious for several days following the incident. There's a lot of stabbings in this game. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but, by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time, and was duly arrested. We saw this case. No, we did see this case, didn't we? The man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Feeling in for our compatriot's innocence, Suzato-san and I decided to represent Suseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Brower Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. Suzato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. So we saw the original part of the case, but not this part? There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. You're late! What on earth took you so long? You're aggressive. I want a snack, so just look agonized for a minute. Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. And it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what felt like an eternity. I'm also a drama queen. I've picked the chime to eat during a game that I have to read things. Whoopsie. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. When feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so, the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. But that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back. Her name is... Ah, yes, here we are. Miss Green. Of course it is. Can I look at the room? I thought she was gonna hit us for you saying that. Wow! The fat jokes that are hidden underneath it all. That's rude. To be fair though, the drawing mannequins are usually not based off real body types. Well, there you go, Ernest. That was a bit better. Not in the least. You're gonna say that the first thing that comes to your mind is someone's gonna hit you. What the fuck, Kim? Stop it! She's cute and adorable sized. What the fuck is your problem? This is a person. fuckery game. Her biscuits or caramel. Oh, he's hungry. He was hopeful she had sweets. Fucking rat on the ground. Ooh, okay, there's an open window. Let's talk to you. Good morning. Hello, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I can talk? From the Empire of Japan. Oh no! Was it your knife that... Are you the man who... No. I'm a lawyer. And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Nice, pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? This poor lady. No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm olive green. Every time I play this game, I don't know why, I act surprised when the names are so fucking dumb! Like, I get it, she's an artist, olive green. I get it, ha ha ha! Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. But what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. The truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. That's not really a reason to stab people. I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been in the hospital here, I mean. Oh god. Indeed it has, my dear madam, spectacularly, by none other than I, Sherlock Sholmes. You exhaust me. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. Oh no! Oh no, we're all so relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. That kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no. Oh, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. Ooh. Oof. How very interesting. Oh no, is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away from the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of the town by comparison, dwelt by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means... I suppose Seki-san does fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine art student to be walking in such a district. That's all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs. If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. I thought I had trouble pronouncing his name. You're worse. Narrow fodder now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Thanks. From a Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg. Mr. Natsume? It's Saucy Nutmeg! Oh, I thought I was bad with names, buddy. Well, why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh. For me, though, bitch. Well, this is most unexpected. Something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? No, because you snatched it out of my fucking hand. No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls, a case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit at his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what? All hair of Fiacre? Fiacre? What the fuck? At once. That's a word. The fuck does that? I don't think I've ever seen that word. Hold on, shut up, Gabe. Googling words. It's French. Oh, it's a French word, so it's probably fiastre. It's also Irish, but it's a name. The word is actually French. What's a carriage? Fiacre. Fiacre, okay. Not the most... wasn't too off. Now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the most unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. Interesting way to do this court case. What on earth? Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead. Hi. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. This man's not doing well. Then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Willful worm without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Not the horrible airlock shows. Shoot, shove off, show yourself the door. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Good job! Here they are, already. The busybodies. I feel like an actual accent for that man, I don't remember. Oh, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. Ha! I deuce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, sunshine. Oh, no, just kidding. I'm glad that was in your head and not an outside thought. There's definitely a dead body. What is that? There's a shiny on the floor. Oi, I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene. Oh, no, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance. I know your kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. I don't know what the accent was for him. Maybe it was supposed to be Scottish. What's the accent for this man? I had one. Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Fuck up, bitch. Stop laughing at things. Alright, sounds like I'd better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. Right, because there's a shiny on the floor and I need to look at it. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. I don't want to play anymore. You have to be kidding me! You have a fucking... Oh, the Raven dude in here. Now you have Shakespeare? Break already. We just started! Mr. William Shamspeare. I'm gonna hate that name. I'm gonna hate that name. It's gonna become a problem. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss as it happened. Or just dead. That's rude. Mr. Shamspeare. It was the landlord, old Mr. Garadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garadeb got worried and kicked the door down. But, doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg? Ah, yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there that actually did the kicking. Really, Sozeki-san. The victim was pretty hard up, it seems, even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintance were the acquaintances were the people in this house. A miserable life and a miserable end to it. But what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious, but I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man, how unfortunate. Anyways, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a goner that long. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. You're not gonna let me touch anything, though. Yeah, pretty much it won't let me touch anything because... I was not trying to do that. Up, Sherlock. Sherlock. Holmes. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. Well, the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't it? Interesting way to spell story. Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends? You're being suspicious. What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But he did... Did he ever invite me to his room? No, never! On my honor, I swear it. Extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruto? When we found him here, I feel wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Look at that inspector over there. The fuck are you doing? I don't know what's happening. We have a man whose name is now Shamspeare. So now we have Shakespeare in the fucking room when he's dead. The fuck are you doing in the corner? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you proposed the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible, can't do big words with an accent, conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Why are you screaming? I think you're right on the money though, buddy. You made him scream. No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please. Pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. Is it me or is it Ryunosuke? Getting more sassy as these court cases go. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. Verherlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. We haven't done one of these in a hot minute. Suffocation also can make them foam at the mouth. Not necessarily poison. Though the eyes... No, the eyes being bruised is a asphyxiation in general. Looks like he was eating the soap. We're gonna point that out. Okay. Well, when he doesn't want to type a lot, so he just calls me. But I always do it when I'm screaming. Sir? Okay. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. He has no markings of anyone that was, like, physically hurt, sir. I feel like he may have suffocated, because the bruising on the eyes and the foaming of the mouth is asphyxiation. Is that even soap? Well, you have a theory, sir. Making this man nervous. Holmes, buddy. Yeah, now it's my turn to be like, bitch, you were crazy, sir. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You were disposed to identify just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruto? Hey, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think that man would have eaten soap? It's quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can certainly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. How extraordinary. I'm not eating soap no matter how broke I am. I'm sorry. Couldn't be me, because ugh, disgusting. In truth, I've tried a little soap myself in the past. Of course you have. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. It looks like cheese. Alright. As someone who, like, the punishment as a kid was I'm gonna wash your mouth out with soap, and it's happened to me, not an experience I ever want to repeat in my life. Thank you. No. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? It's Mr. Natsume. Yeah, he's been freaking out the whole time. Couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye, almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. Nonsense. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. Oh. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the key words of Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little bit more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular Act 1. Have any of you touched it to make sure it's soap? not to be funny or offensive, but some English sweets are just basically bars of sugar. We sure that that's soap? Well, it's definitely soap, I guess. Yes, so he did not eat the soap. The answer is no. Bitch did not eat soap. We know that it's not true now. Tea. Whatever was in the teacup. There's a dark spot on the table. Okay. There's 2 cups.
Take that!
I'm so smart today. too late to go back. You're full of hire. Yeah, they're his books. They're secretly gay, let them be. I mean, one of them's dead now, but you know.
Take that!
But you have bad luck. Not again, not again, not again. Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But, wait! Hold your horses. Door key locked. Entry, exit entirely impossible. He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal. What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You could have had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. Get your chance to give your side of the story later. He's become a cowboy in my hand, and that's not the accent that he needs to have. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Welcome, student Mr. Naruto Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but you have to help me, please, please. I'm innocent. Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken, Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. That's rude. You started it. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. And of course, what? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Ah, Mr. John Garadeb, yes. I suspect we can find him in his sitting room at the top of the floor. Alright, we must remember to go and talk to him later then. So we need to do this room. Soseki's room for the Kid Kat. And then landlord. We're talking about my favorite character of all time? What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Can you adjust it? Yeah, good luck with that. This piece was suspicious. Keep it, it's evidence. Oh, this was important to look at, actually. More soap. More soap. Wax seals. He's using the soap to make a seal. This I have to see. Me too. Good girl. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? Well, Inspector Gregson, back so soon. After I threw that little Japanese fellow in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low being back in his cell again so soon. I'm sure we should... The fuck? What's wrong, Mr. Hammer? I love it. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player. I was not expecting the body. I mean, bodies do move after death, but this one's not dead. This one's just spouting Shakespearean stuff. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed, oh happy day! Oh. That was a moment. That was a thing that happened. The fella isn't dead at all, obviously. What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare. That was fun. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now was. That was an event. That was an event. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume, arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shakespeare did consume poison, as we deduced. But was it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. The crime of necromancy, right? Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? It looks like he's trying to see into Saseki-san's lodgings. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruto? Excuse me. Could we have a word? Ah! Bye? He just ran off. I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too, but I don't remember. Cool, I need to look at the items we put in the court record, by the way. Okay, I don't think there's... outside the edges. Just ripped it. Nothing in it. Okay, nothing of importance on this. Soap. He's making wax seals with the soap. That's what it looks like. Oh, okay, you lost part of your evidence. I love that for us. Oops. I have to gulp it down. And most of them are Japanese. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Okay, now we know whose was whose cup. Doesn't tell us anything yet. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. Just gonna see what this is. Basically, seems like I got emails for it. I don't know why they just sent a whole ass thing that I need to sign for it. But okay. Okay. I was trying to move on. There we go. Move. Oh, we can't go to the dude's room to feed the cat, like I promised. Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget. Ah, you chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. Quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really. I'm straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more Bally nonsense this morning. I wonder, you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb? Garadeb, fucking wait. Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Greggson's words, weren't they? You can present. What would I be present? I guess maybe the letter? We'll see. We'll see. Must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened. Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer. And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door? Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Naruto. Talk. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning. Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that. Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden? Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door. Victim's name is Mr. Shamspeare, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shamspeare. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In a word, destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it. The only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose. So hard to choose which category Saseki-san would fall into. Mr. Naruto, that's a little rude. He was doing research as well. Research? To what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that. Those are 2 different plays. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, you know, and many of his works have already been translated. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's rooms, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspeare would have had much in common. Both copying and influenced by well-known English authors? Yes. Sir Naruto! Really? How rude! After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning? Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. But jeez, just every name together possible. King Henry and Once Upon a Midnight. King Henry, Midnight Summer Dream, something else. There's so many Shakespeare ones. Snow was down coming rather heavily as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time. Mr. Garadib noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose? Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspeare got back, and the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Thank you. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Is everything alright, Miss Suzaru? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrideb, you were up here in your room all evening, as if I've understood correctly. Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg. Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean. That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you can hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants, why would I? And how did you know, Mr. Garrideb? It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything. The gas talks to me! Oh god. the gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes. Yes, I'd more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the main gas outside, and the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously, the room would get brighter. You'd also hear it moving through the pipes. Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms in the house would dim for a moment. They dim? Why? Because that's how gas-powered stuff works. Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it? Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long worn out. And barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here, and they glow brighter in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening, and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's fascinating is the actual word. Brain. Mr. Garrideb, absolutely fascinating. Oh well, nothing to it really, and I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garrideb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. Good idea. Cool, buddy. I'm gonna leave you here and you do your thing. Look, Mr. Naruto. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Welcome, student Mr. Naruto, Esquire. Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me, is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes. He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost. But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me cursed. I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruto. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too. Yes, I'm moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Maybe you could have, maybe not. referred to it as coming back to life when he was never dead. This man freaks out easily. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Oh. I'm stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly, wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions. I'm sorry to hear that. Ah, that selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamsper was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes, that might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh! Oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspear, didn't you? We already knew this. I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. I am your lawyer, you dumbass. Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruto Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. The case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday, and you're back in jail again. You're doing great, buddy. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, at past 9, it must have been, visited Mr. Shamspear. So you did go to the victim's room then. As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong. I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time. Okay. Then what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in with what Mr. Garabdeb said, that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I'd brewed as a gift. So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then. And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet, who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. It's the stronger? What debate were you having? If they could fight each other? Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare. And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspear's tea? No! Never! Not at all! Team Juliet won. That was me. And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it, categorically. Okay, cool. You're having a good time. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time, I've learned that it's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse, but even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago I moved into Briar Road. But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me. The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. You know what? I feel that, though. Books do cost money, but books are also nice. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave or blinkered? And after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really, really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? Okay. How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? All of the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. Buddy's having the rough of it. That really is horrible. And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamster was writhing in agony from the poison in his body, I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. You must simply move out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right, I know it, and that's why. I'm already searching for the next room with history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodations with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history. Oh, Suzato-san knows how to make the man listen. Of course, my lord of the manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garrideb? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Ah, perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his light rooms. Too much gas? And if any of it's leaking, could also make you hallucinate. And have a real bad time. So... maybe he's also paying attention because he knows shit is happening because of the gas. What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamsbear isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right. Excuse me. Oh gosh. Inspector Gregson. Couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh? Which do you want first? Always, every time the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Why did you ask me my preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Miss Shamspear, was just unconscious. He's come around now. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? He's gonna say it was him. Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell. Sorry, no. That's not on the cards. What? Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone? Oh dear. You don't mean it. I'm sorry to say I do, yes. he's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Watch it be he poisoned himself because they were talking about Romeo and Juliet. By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wickus caitiff, Soseki Natsume. I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. Man, he's having a rough go. So, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court, and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. To be continued. The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. That's my line. Good morning! Ah, good morning, Mr. Natsume. It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yes, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back. Now this? Another morning, another murder, and here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to court! I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Mr. Naruto, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh! Mr. Natsume, good morning. Yes, morning. Oh, here we are again. Yes, again. What is the bad news? Oh dear, you heard, did you? If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say. Oh, I am sorry. You've done nothing wrong, Miss Suzaru. Now, what is it? Our favorite prosecutor is back. Legman. Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Baron von Zieks, our favorite. And Van Zieks. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey, the most legendary prosecutor in the land. Such a fine-looking man. The trial 2 days ago, he pursued Soseki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through, but still. Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter, after all. Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zieks is the prosecutor. Oh no. That even if that person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another. We've experienced it firsthand. A man we successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal right here in the Old Bailey. Bright screen, bright screen. Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits and now by the Reaper. Pair of petrifying perils, potentially. Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume. Welcome, student Mr. Naruto Esquire. Yes? I'm innocent! You have to believe me. I'm defending you. It's kind of my job. You more than anyone now. Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promise is to be a hard battle, I fear. Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom. Let's go. Oh yes, I forgot to say, I'm afraid you won't be able to make it, Mr. Sholmes, I mean. That's probably for the best. Oh, if you were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zieks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling. Mr. Naruto. You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well said. It's not that you hate the man or anything. I swear on the sword at my side and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free with honor. Oh, yes. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Well, it is. Declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Fucking vampire man, I love you. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. Readiness for the trial, my lord Nepalese friend, is not what the defense needs. We're starting this off great. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. It's not just my imagination, it's really there. Lord Van Zieks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason. It was some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all. Yet now he's back in the courtroom, though for some reason, only when I'm defending. This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Soseki-san's trial. Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty? Oh god, he's back. Oh, familiar faces all around. Oh, yep. Oh, she's new. A very important meeting. Let's make it quick. Oh, nope. Okay, one person seems new. The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of the judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public, and the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement with the defendant's guilt. 6 citizens of London chosen at random. Or at least that's the idea. The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today. Very well, let us commence the trial. Lord Van Zieks, your opening statement, please. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Of this man, did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime. Namely that of the attempted murderer of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand. The cape's already off, love it. The detective responsible for investigating the scene, and the accused himself. You're not gonna bring the person who got stabbed? Like, not, he wasn't stabbed. He was poisoned. I feel like the person throwing the blame should be here. Witnesses, your names and occupations, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. He was Scottish. That was the accent I was giving him like 3 years ago. Fuck! Ah, Suzeki Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. Mr. Natsume? Yes, my lord. Sir? I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken, but you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were just yesterday. The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough. Ugh, believe me, this is the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court. My brain is debating whether I can actually do a Scottish accent right now. You think this would be easy for me to pop into, considering my husband is in fact partially Scottish and has a Scottish accent. But no, it is not. Anytime the accent actually can happen, it's completely by accident. Right you are, sir. That's English. That's so English. It's English. The Scottish isn't coming. We're not doing that today. The incident occurred at the Garadeb household where the defendant has lodgings. In the ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamspeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. It was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. This means, I presume, the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident. Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible. Although the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, lives to tell the tale, he very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked. Yes. I don't remember the puddle on the floor. A chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased. That's right. Everyone present believed that's exactly what he was. Very well. I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. Cool, I want to look at that. Now then, Mr. Natsume. Hold on. Shut the fuck up. I need to look at that. I don't remember this when we were actually in there. Okay. Ah, yes. As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture? They're haunted by evil spirits. Good gracious, what's haunted? My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the streets outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me? What about me? I've nearly been killed countless times. Killed, Mr. Natsume. How? Even on that fateful night it happened when I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long... He's hallucinating. You're leaving a gas stove on? Gas... Oh my god, you're hallucinating. You shouldn't leave a gas stove on, buddy. Oh, you're hallucinating, buddy. The stove went out, and somebody tried to kill... You really should have... It went out, but the gas doesn't turn off. So when a gas stove doesn't light, and you haven't turned it manually off, the gas is just leaking out into the room. This man is freaking hallucinating and probably about to kill himself. Because he's letting gas into his room. You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume. But it's so cold! My runny nose would freeze. The point is, it didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed? Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events. If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more. Conclusive point. Conclusive? Go on. You're starting this off fucking early. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, has regained consciousness after his ordeal, and he has named the true culprit. The poison consumed by the victim was administered in the cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused. The accused? Good grief! We're starting off strong. Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. If Soseki-san is innocent, then why? Why has the victim accused him? Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you to say to this accusation? That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspear's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again, never! The public pump was frozen, you say? That's not information we've heard before. That will do. Thank you. No, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection? None whatsoever, my lord. Good. Then you will give your account of events on the night in question to the court now. I think what we'll do is get past the statement parts and then take a break because my eyes are tired today. What's all these poison cases? Mr. Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless, presumably though. The teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they? Why didn't I think of that? As it happens, no, we haven't been able to. Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect substance. How could you overlook something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done? We also took the teacups with us. My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed. The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea. Not that it was overlooked. Unable? Why? It's simple enough. There was none left. Not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed. You could have swiped the inside of the teacup. You don't need the liquid itself. You could have just tested the teacup. With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poisons under such circumstances. There. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough. The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question. Totally another member, man. I love him. I love him. Fucking Capcom and men with white hair. I don't know what it is about them. cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend. Santa Judge. What? You could see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity. He's right. I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. But I can't let them beat me down. I won't. Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Crazy eyes, Runosuke. That's where I get it from. What?
Hold it!
Oh. Simple no would have sufficed. Come now, no Nipponese could understand the finer points of English literature. Buddy, you were so racist. I love you, but you're fucking racist, buddy. And on the night in question, that was the topic of conversation as well, I presume. Okay.
Hold it!
You meant stronger with fight. Okay, you actually meant fighting.
Hold it!
Okay.
Hold it!
We did have symptoms of asphyxiation. I mean, they were talking Shakespeare. They were talking Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet poisoned themselves, not each other. Or if they had just reenacted to find out who was stronger, who knows if he could have reenacted poison. Well, I want to read it myself. Stop talking. Hold on. I want to read it myself.
Hold it! So persistently, yet Inspector Gregson just brushes what he says aside. It's really quite infuriating. I agree, so we need to find an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think. I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty. They see it, then we need to focus on is the poison and the tea. Not this? Where are the teacups? There's nothing left in them. There's the stain. You take it from the stain? I don't think we're asking them anything. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I get it, the poison in the tea, but where?
Hold it!
I don't think you can press their side ones. That doesn't really talk about the poison. This talks about the debate. I don't think that's necessary. Do this one.
Hold it!
Has to be something with the teacups. Either the poison or the thing we just got. Hold on. I mean, all we can do is just try. I feel like this is probably what the fucking poison was in.
Objection!
Oh no. I don't have a lot of evidence. It's actually harder when I don't have a lot of evidence. Would he have really gone to sit back down now?
Objection!
I think not, Inspector. Come again? I think you'll find. At least I knew which piece of evidence I was supposed to be using, I just did it on the wrong timing. But you've overlooked a very significant chronological inconsistency here. I don't know what? What are you on about? According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning, and yet the defendant, Mr. Natsume, left the victim's room at 11. Oh, they did say that. I was just assuming because, like, even if it had been 30 minutes after, or like 30 minutes when they were talking, there would have been no way that he could have stood up and because he would have been having seizures. Yes, that's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there. In other words, if there was poison in the tea that Mr. Natsume brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen ill to it 2.5 full hours after the defendant left? The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Van Zieks? Oh, he's got the wine out. Is he gonna eat it? Pray forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wandered. I was considering what cuisine would best complement the contents of my hollow chalice this luncheon. How could it have happened, you ask? I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nibonese friend appears to be chasing a phantom idea. A phantom? Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left? For example, at the time stated in the medical report. Yes, at around 1:30.
Objection!
Mr. Natsumi brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor, and in Japan, there's a well-known saying. Drink tea while it's hot.
Objection!
And in my country, there's an even more apt saying. There is nothing more refreshing than cold tea. Actually, ew. I don't think... No, English tea is always made warm. Why would you drink it cold? I've never known a single person that drinks English tea to drink it cold, sir. There may be other ways to explain how the victim came to be poisoned. Other possibilities. What sort of possibilities, Counsel? Well, for example, the man could have had another visitor. Another visitor. That's a very bold assertion, my learned friend, from someone who has nothing to substantiate it. Actually, I have an envelope! I have an envelope that we don't know what it goes to, but it has white powder on it. I am pretty certain it has white powder. Hold on. I mean, it looks like it has white stuff on this side. It looks like something was in it when it ripped. Or the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition. You suggest this may have been a suicide, Counsel.
Objection!
Mr. Shamspeare has categorically denied suicide. The idea can and must be discounted.
Objection!
But he could be lying. That's a great defense right there. I love that. Not that they were studying Shakespeare and it's a Shakespeare thing. No, he's lying! Oh, great. Something wrong, Lord Van Zeeks. I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Hooray! Forgive the discourtesy. Carriage? What carriage? It would seem the keep letter in this case has just arrived. Is it so bright? Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Who, sir, are you? The victim, wouldn't you know? You should know what your victim looks like. William Shamspeare, my lord. Alas, 'twas I undone by these bitter events. I am the victim. What's he doing here? This is reasonable. I don't know why you're asking what he's doing here. This is a reasonable thing. He accused someone, he should be here. The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. With his testimony, my learned friend's futile resistance will be utterly crushed. You're calling him as a witness? Very well, counsel. I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself. Oh my god. Happy am I, Shamspeare, to regale thee with the tale of my woe, my lord. But I still have my own tale to tell, my own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with the tale of my perfect innocence in perfect English. That will do, Mr. Natsume. Let the court now hear from the victim. Alright. So that's Mr. Shamespeare. 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 But who's that other man beside him? Yes, I feel sure that we've caught a glimpse of this man before. State your names and occupations for the court, please, witnesses. A writer of words so sweet they do scent the breeze, an inventor of ideas so profound they compose the earth. The unrivaled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare. For the great bard to be recalled to life anew, lo, what a magnificent man. Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shakespeare. Oh, the name's Meterman. Adrian B. Meterman. I work for the Altmont Gas Company, East End Branch Office. Ah, I remember now. It was yesterday on Briar Road. Oh yes, she's right. It's him. This game's so bright. But what's this? What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Sasage's lodgings. He ran off. Yes, we spotted him outside Mr. Garrity's house this morning. And he's a gas company employee? What does he have to do with this case? So, Mr. William Shakespeare, you are the victim in this miserable affair, correct? Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember? That sweet poison that didst cross me and cross mine innocent lips. I subpoenaed him for the trial, with his doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure. Behold, you have only to rearrange the letters of my name to see that the me is a seraph. He's a seraph. Fucking Jesus Christ. An angel indeed. Thus be I noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be. Because there isn't a less contrived meaning in your name. No, not at all. The jurors seem to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid. You're naturally taking to the seraph anagram idea seriously? Thank you, witnesses, for your illuminating introductions. But my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shakespeare doing here? The gasman, I mean. What? Me? Well, now... Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, your earlier impertinence? When you suggested that the victim had another visitor to his room on that night in question? And moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar? What? No, I didn't quite say that. This young chin-stroker is here to convert your wild claims, conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Meterman? Hang on, no. I'm just here. Hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question. One may smile and be a villain. Yes, it doth pain me, but let the truth be spoken, the truth of that wintry night of my discontent. Cool, perfect. We can leave it right there. My eyes are tired. I am tired. I have to get up early tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. Probably we'll play more of this. Bye-bye!